Hey everybody, this is Jeff Crane. I wanted to share a story with you. When I was 19, I became a ski instructor. What happened was, I was working in a high-rise at my dad's office, my dad Doug, and I was working on computers. Now back then, this was 1988, you had to actually know how to be a computer programmer to pretty much work on these things. I had high aspirations. I had told my dad, I said, listen, I wanted to get into computers. And so I remember working in his high-rise office. It was just overlooking the 5 freeway. And I remember looking down at the cars, and I would look out my window because there was nothing else to do because I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea. As a matter of fact, if you ever saw Zoolander, and those 2 guys were trying to break into the computer by pounding on it to get to the files, that was me. I knew nothing about computers. So I would daydream. Looking at the cars in the 5 freeway in Southern California, I decided, you know what, I'm going to be a ski instructor. I had a really good friend in high school. His name's Gavin Ball. I remember him always telling me he wanted to be on the ski patrol. And we would go skiing to Mammoth all the time, once or twice a winter. And I thought, you know what, that's a great idea, but I want to be a ski instructor. So I devised a plan. I was up here in this tower, being miserable. I came up with a simple plan, and here was my plan. What I was going to do is I was going to go to the lowest mountain, the mountain that got the least amount of snow, the one that you probably wouldn't want to work at, and it was called Mountain High. This was at the beginning of the Cajon Pass in Southern California. And as the Cajon Pass goes up, it can go up over to Victorville, and you can go behind and come up through Big Bear, or you can come up the front way. Now, when you go up the front way, you're going to hit a small ski resort, and then you're going to hit Snow Summit. That was the marquee ski hill in Big Bear. They were kind of like the country club. Well, the reason I picked Bear Mountain is because this was a brand new acquisition. A company called, I think it's called Mount Snow in Kellington, Vermont. I think that's one of their hills. Anyway, the Kellington company bought Bear Mountain. So I knew they were going to look for fresh blood. So this is what I did. I set up an appointment and an interview with Mountain High. And on the same day, I set up an appointment for Snow Summit. And then the following day, I set up an appointment for Bear Mountain. And I walked into my dad's office. I said, hey, Dad, I can't do this anymore. I want to be a ski instructor. I'll give you my 2 weeks notice. He just looked at me and laughed. I was a teenager. He didn't need to have 2 weeks notice. So I left, and I went to my first interview. And this is what I did. I sat there and I listened intently to what the guy was saying. And I wrote it all down. And I left that interview, and I went up to Snow Summit, and I listened to what he said. And this is what they both told me. So I knew that this was a concern that they had because they both had said it. They said, listen, Jeff, we prefer somebody who is full-time, who has their own vehicle, who lives close to the mountain, who doesn't just want to be a ski instructor so they can get a free ticket, who doesn't want to be a ski instructor just because they want to get on the ski team, okay? So I wrote those notes down, I put that in my mind, and I showed up to my interview at Bear Mountain. Now this was 30 years ago, folks, okay? And I still remember his name was Joel Munns, and he said, Jeff, tell me something about yourself. And this is exactly what I said. I have a place to live up here in the mountains. It's my dad's cabin. I have a Jeep Wrangler. It's 4-wheel drive. I love to ski. I want to work full-time. I'm cool with teaching kids. I don't really care to be on the ski team, and I want to work full-time. He looked down at my resume, which I probably had 4 small jobs before that, and he said, you're hired. Without even knowing that I could ski, he said, you're hired. And here's what he said, and here's something crazy. He said, Jeff, I want you to report to the marketing department. He goes, here's your paperwork. Fill this out and deliver that to the marketing department. I said, yes, sir. Shook his hand and thanked him. I went to the marketing department, and this is what they said. Before I even walked in, they said, are you Jeff? I'm like, yeah. So, well, Joel seems to think that you can be trusted to go into the stores in Southern California down the hill and promote the Bear Mountain brand. I said, what? They're like, yeah, we want you to drive to every major sporting goods store in Southern California from Los Angeles to San Diego. And we want you to set up a table, we want you to get a PA system, and we want you to, hey everybody, this is Jeff, I'm here with Bear Mountain, and we want you to give away free tickets, and we want you to represent our multi-million-dollar brand. That last part I put in there, but it's true. What did I say? Are you kidding me? Absolutely. So I got my cool Jeep Wrangler. I'm like 18 years old, 19 years old. I'm like, let's do this. So I went from store to store to store, and the first couple times, it was horrible. But after a while, I got used to it. I walked in there, I had my uniform. I don't care if it was 95 degrees out. I had my Bear Mountain sweatshirt, uniform, you name it, and I was ready to go. Well, then it started to get cold. So they had a good experience with me in the marketing department. So they said, listen, Jeff, we want you to do public relations. That's what I call it for us. And we want you to go to every single store and every single cafe and shop in Big Bear, on Big Bear Boulevard, and we want you to hand deliver a ski report. Now, we didn't have cell phones, and if you did, it was in your Audi, or you had some huge brick, right? We didn't have the internet, so you couldn't just look up the ski report. I literally went from store to store every morning, I think it was like 6:30 in the morning or 7 o'clock, and I hand delivered that ski report to every single store that was open. I got to know that town within 2 weeks. So I did PR. I haven't even started skiing yet. So I started to ski. And lo and behold, little by little, I start earning trust of my bosses. Because you have to understand, I was teaching 8 to 9 kids every single day by myself. Sometimes I would have help, most of the times I didn't. And that meant I had to take them to lunch, and they had to go to the bathroom, and I had to get them off the top of the hill when they crashed at the very top. I became an experienced ski instructor, and more importantly, I graduated to privates, which made me $40 an hour. Okay, this all happened within a 90-day period. I'm not done yet. Then I became a trusted advisor. I was an experienced ski instructor, and I worked 6 days a week at the ski hill that I worked 1 day a week all the way back down to Whittier, which was an hour and a half away, to a place called Pacific Surf and Ski. It was a ski shop that when I was a little grumpet, I would go in, surf shop, skate shop, and I would just gawk at everything. Well, I had worked there one summer, and I walked in and said, hey, Steve, I'm a ski instructor now. How about I start selling skis? So on Sunday, I'd walk in, and I'd have this tan, my raccoon eyes. Sometimes I'd wear my Bear Mountain uniform. I'd walk right in, and I'd close deals left and right. Because I had instant confidence. I'm a ski instructor, man. Who else are you going to buy skis from? So I turned an opportunity to sit around for 2 weeks doing nothing into one of my dreams, and it all happened in one beautiful winter season. I'll never ever forget it. So if you're up in the tower and you're like, listen, I just don't want to be doing this anymore, make yourself a plan. Execute that plan. Make sure though that you have things set up before you quit that job. That's probably one thing I could have done better. I just wanted to share this story with you because I know there's so many people out there today who want to be that ski instructor, but they never do it. And mostly because they're afraid. Just do it, man. Get out there, see what people say, do what they want you to do it even better. They're going to give you more and more responsibility, and who knows where it's going to take you. That one small act helped me by learning how to market, public relation. I was an experienced instructor, and I was a trusted sales advisor for a ski store. Listen, I hope this helps, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and thanks for letting me do these videos.